All right, and a pleasant Happy New Year once again from Tony'sPicks.com. This is Ramon Scott coming to you live from Las Vegas, and welcome to Night Moves here for Friday, January 2nd. Hope you had a great New Year's. Way to ring in the new year with some great college football. And we know the four teams right now in the college football playoff semifinals after the three games there on Thursday. Of course, we saw uh, Oregon with an impressive victory there over Texas Tech. They move on to take on the Indiana Hoosiers. The Hoosiers impressive, of course, in their win over Alabama. Really one of the most impressive performances we've seen at not only the college football playoff, but at the Rose Bowl as well. And we know the line on the game now, Indiana -4, and the total 47 in that one. Of course, that one will be on Friday, January 9th, 1 week from today. It's past midnight here on the West Coast in Las Vegas. And also, we saw impressive performance from Ole Miss with the win over Georgia, and the line is out for that one as well against Miami. That one on Thursday, January 8th, Miami, a 3-point favorite over Ole Miss, total 51.5 there. Ole Miss with the wild win over Georgia, 39-34. Georgia led 21-12 at halftime, but how about Chambliss? I mean, it makes you wonder, right? How this man was overlooked playing Division II ball as a man who redshirted in Division II to get his chance to play and lead Ferris State to a national title. They're a power. I mean, they might have won it with any quarterback, but this guy looks like something special, at least in the college level, and Lane Kiffin gets to root for Ole Miss here. You saw his criticism after the entire game day crew there picked Georgia to win. Hey, great job there by Ole Miss. They outgained Georgia by 130 yards, and they move on to take on Miami. In Indiana's win over Alabama, the Hoosiers, with their first bowl win since 1991. They were making their first appearance at the Rose Bowl since before I was born. And look at me. Indiana outgained Alabama 400-200 basically in the game. Alabama rushed for just 25 yards, and Indiana moves on to play Oregon. Remember, they beat the Ducks 30-20 in October. Alabama, they were the biggest underdog that they've been since 2008 in that game there against Indiana. And of course, in that Oregon game, Tech came in averaging 42.5 points a game, and Oregon led 6-0 at halftime. Tech had only 215 yards and 4 turnovers to send Indiana to play the Ducks in the semifinals there next week. You've got a great Final Four with some great sidebars as well there at the college football playoff. All right. Thank you for joining me here on the show. We've got a nice card here to go on Friday with more bowl game action here, as well as NBA, NHL, and college basketball, featuring a matchup between Nebraska and Michigan State. The first time that two teams come into a regular season game with records of 13-0 or better in 35 years tomorrow. So I don't know 12-1, whatever Michigan State is. We haven't seen a matchup this high powered, I guess, is what I meant to say, in 35 years with Michigan State. I think they're 12-1 actually, and Nebraska 13-0. So should be really good game here on Friday in college basketball. Preview a handful of games there as well. Hope you had a great New Year's, and what'd you think of the offensive line getting the MVP of the Rose Bowl over Mendoza? Mendoza, I mean, he only threw 18 passes or whatever. So maybe that was pretty cool in the end, that they were able to give it. They sure were excited for their teammates when they named the offensive line as the MVP. Let me say hello to the folks in the chat while I try to get the right background graphic up here for our show. There we go. Really appreciate you joining me here. Man, we got already a couple dozen of you here lined up, so it's almost like we're ready to go with Jerry Jones. He had Ole Miss, and he banked it here, 20-1 somehow there, Jerry. Great job there. He must have took them late. He took them when they were down, and Jerry cleans up there. I want to say hello to Sonny Schlotfield here today as well. Mr. Weskers is ready to go with our show here today. And also Timmy Two Shoes, he's in action with us here. Mr. 4600, ready to have a good show with us. We'll preview all these games coming up in a minute. And Signetti, right? Borderline, a little bit of arrogance, a little bit of confidence, and a lot of hard work in there for a guy like Signetti. Enjoy it now. I mean, look, there's a little bit of combination there with some really talented players. Not to say that Indiana couldn't be the next the powerhouse in football. We've seen these teams kind of turn it around in some of these other sports, right? Wow. When you think about what we're seeing right now with this Indiana team, they look like a pro team out there today. How do you think that center that got the MVP of the game? I mean, he's going to be big time center in the NFL, or an offensive lineman there. Georgia choked. Alabama's a fluke, says Greg Gibson. Real Madrid Doge. Oh, he didn't have a good day. We're not going to put that on the screen. He didn't have a great day. I didn't either. I looked at a few. I had the Indiana Hoosiers here as a premium play over at Tony's Picks. And let's see who else is there. Nexus PvP had Oklahoma State there, I believe, or maybe he's got that play. Thank you, Nexus. And Greg's ready to go. Just talking Dallas and Brooklyn are terrible. Okay. All right. Let's get the preview started here, I think, and get your opinions on the games as well. There was some great action, of course, on Thursday. Also, that was a good EPL card, I thought, to kick it off in the morning, leading in there after Sunderland tie against Manchester City. Man, they didn't lose. They keep at least not losing at home. Sunderland, pretty interesting there. Hotspur and Brentford was a 0-0 tie. There were 2 goals scored in 4 games. I mean to say it was totally thrilling. That was very interesting. Just 2 goals in 4 games in the EPL there on Thursday. Crystal Palace and Fulham there did have the 1-1 game. Fulham tied in the 80th minute. And Liverpool and Leeds tied as the Liverpool just couldn't gain any momentum trying to get up there into 3rd place. So also Chelsea fired Maresca there, just 1 win in the last 7 matches. He had a contract, I think, for the next 5 or 6 years. No, maybe it was only 4 years, but Maresca fired at Chelsea. All right, and let's get to the show and get with the previews here and our college football games here on Friday. All right, I think we've said hello to everybody. Yeah, Michigan State lost that 1 game to Duke, Jerry, you're right. But still, we've not seen 2 teams with this strong of a record, 13 at least 13 games in, only 3 times, and 3 times in 35 years. Okay, and the LALB likes Indiana to win it all. God, I mean, it does seem like they are destined, doesn't it? All right, we got to get going with the show, but I want everyone to know you can go over to Tony'sPicks.com and get our premium picks here for Friday. Absolutely, our best picks are every day over at Tony's Picks. You can use the promo code TonyT at checkout to save 15% off those premium pick packages. And let's see who did well. There's Solo 3-0 on the day. Great job, Solo. Al Nino's up there. 2-0 as well. DeAndre's had a great week, 67%, up 6 2/3 units there over the last 7 days, and he's up there for the month as well. Shout out there to Mr. Bittler as he continues to roll right now, crushing. And hey, it's a new year, so he's on top here in 2026. Go over to Tony'sPicks.com, use the promo code Tony T at checkout. DeAndre's got his Friday best bet up there. Check out DeAndre and me over at Tony'sPicks.com and use that promo code Tony T at checkout. All right, and let's get rolling here now with the show. I want to talk sports and sports betting with you here on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel for Friday, where we got bowl game action ready to go here. Let's check in with our 4-game card, and we'll start it off early at 1 Eastern and 10 Pacific at the Armed Forces Bowl with Rice. Okay, Rice, you're in. We had to get somebody to play in these games. Which games are going to disappear in the future? I don't think the Armed Forces Bowl will, but we do have Rice. They did make a bowl game. Hats off to them. They'll come in here with their triple option in this one. So good on them. They're getting 16 points in the matchup here against Texas State for Rice here. Let me get my notes up, you guys. Oh boy. They're we know one thing. Rice gonna be running the ball here against Texas Tech for sure in this one with that attack. They have lost 6 of their last 8 games coming into this one. I mean, they got a guy in quarterback Jenkins here. You know, he likes to run almost as much as he passes. He's run for over 500 yards and passed for about 1,000 yards so far this season. Rice 4-5 ATS as an underdog this year. One of the Owls' wins was against a Sun Belt team. It should say Texas State there, guys. Of course, that would be Texas Tech would be a 45-point favorite against these guys. Sorry about that. We're off to a rugged start here. One of the Owls' wins was over another Sun Belt team in Louisiana. They beat them 14-12 as a 10.5-point favorite. The Owls were held to under 300 yards this season in 4 of their last 6 games. They did go over in 4 of their last 6 games coming into this one. Also, the Owls have lost 3 of their last 4 bowl games. They've been to a few bowls, but just funny to see them here with this another 5-7 team. We talked about the couple of 5-7 teams that had to accept bowl bids here. Texas State, winners of 3 straight, coming in over Southern Miss and Monroe as well. They didn't cover against Monroe, but they still beat them by 17, and they hammered USA 49-26 as a 9.5-point favorite in their finale. So not bad when you're scoring 121 points in your last 3 games. Bobcats scored 30 points in 10 of their 12 games this season. 5 of their 6 wins this season were by 17 or more points. You see the line there at 16, and they should win this game. So hard to see that Texas State might allow for Rice. Rice will try to shorten the game for sure, hang on to the ball and extend those drives. That's what Rice has to do, to be in this game. Texas State is a pretty strong quarterback here with 3,000 passing yards this season, 18 touchdowns and 7 interceptions here coming on. So they've had some good performances also. Let's see. I think the Rice quarterback, though, let me see. I think he's actually, let me make sure I got the right quarterback in here. Yeah, okay. Let me get that straight here with Rice right now coming into the game here. You guys can give me your opinions in the chat while I'm fooling around here anyway. Um, yeah, for Texas State here, you'll look to get it done with their triple option guy, with their offense with Sparks expected to be the man. Bo Sparks here will be the main target here in this one. Let me get your opinions here with Texas State taking on Rice. Texas State was just 4-8 ATS this year, 2-6 against the spread as a favorite coming in. For the Texas State Bobcats, they beat Rice 45-21 in a bowl game 2 years ago as a 3.5 point favorite. The underdogs have covered 4 of the last 5 Texas bowls. American teams were 6-3 straight up and 5-4 against the spread against Sun Belt opponents this season. Let me go to the chat and see what you have here in this one. This game's not very thrilling to me. Let's see what we got here with the chat, though. Some great comments coming in. Let's see here. Sonny rolled in the college football playoff today. And I'm looking for your comments here a little bit. Zach Rossley has us first, and he's got the over in this one. And let's see here. There it is, over 55. Not much. LALB also on the over here. And Greg here liking Rice, it looks like. He's got his a 14-point game, that spread. They're currently at 16. Now, call it, I think it's 17 here at a lot of places now. The sharp books have moved to 17 here, so let's update it. Call it 17, and still 55 looks like the right total here at this time. All right. I'll make my call here in this one. I've got Texas State to crush Rice here by more than 16, 17 points. I'm going to take Texas State over Rice in this one. All right. I imagine Rice is going to have a hard time. Scoring a lot of points. If they can keep that down, they rush an average of 50 times per game. So they just need to hold on to the ball and keep that clock running and make it a close game. But I think Texas State, they're only one game better than them straight up in the standings, but still a little bit of a mismatch between these two, it feels like right now. All right. Rice is no slouch, says Greg. They went 5-7 this year. They had a better spread record for sure. They went 3-2 against the spread away from home. And all right, let's keep it moving here right now. And you're gonna have to stop Brad Jackson in there for sure. So I think that's part of it there for Texas State. Rice is going to have a little bit of a makeshift lineup. They're never going to abandon that type of offense. That's just it. So it's plug and play for sure for Rice. All right, I'll move on to the next one here as I've got Texas State to roll. All right, next up, the Naval Academy is going to take on Cincinnati here. Navy, we think of them as an underrated team for the most part, maybe with the public. But, as good as they've been this year, they've actually been very overrated. They're 10-2 overall, but have not been very good against the spread, actually, this season. Quite the opposite. Still, maybe just because of the fact that they were so strongly rated, they still covered 2 of the last 3 overall. They beat USF 41-38 as a 9.5 point dog. They beat Memphis 28-17. Yeah, they lost the Army Navy game, but I don't. Or they actually, Navy won the game. They just didn't cover. It's in the 17-16 win over Army. Didn't cover the spread in that one, but what do you come to expect in the Army Navy game? So Navy, like I said, just been a little bit rugged against the point spread, but we've seen massive movement in this game because of the issues coming in uh, for Cincinnati right now. Cincinnati has numerous opt outs, including their quarterback. Sorsby, also their running back, is doubtful in this one. Transfers coming out of the uh, defense all over the place in the all three position rooms, if you will, on defense. So you've seen this game basically move from a 1 point spread for Cincinnati all the way up to 7.5 here for Navy. I have 7 there on screen, but definitely closer to 7.5 at some shops here coming in. Cincinnati finished the season with 4 straight losses as well, and they really weren't close in some of those games. They lost to Utah by 31 points as an 11.5 point dog. They lost to Arizona as a favorite. They lost to BYU as a 2.5 point dog, lost by 12, got blown out by TCU. So it was a little rough down the stretch. Also, Cincinnati just won 4 straight up uh, as an underdog coming into this game. Now, Navy did have 2 losses this season, but they've got a great leader at quarterback in Horvath. This year accounted for over 2,400 yards of total offense. Now, under Coach Newberry, Navy's not been a very good favorite. 9-12 ATS overall. Like I said, 2-6 against the spread as a favorite this year for Navy, but a lot of that is against similar ilk, if you will. We talked about some of those opponents they had. They failed to cover against North Texas. They also got blown out by Notre Dame, but Navy's won 4 of its last 5 bowl games. The military teams are always prepared for the bowl games. They don't have as many opt-outs, if ever, and uh, you know they don't have football futures or anything like that. That's just the way it goes with Navy. They ran for over 200 yards, of course, in 10 of their 12 games this season. They went over in 7 of their 11 games against Division One competition. Cincinnati, meanwhile, allowing 36.5 points per game in those 4 losses that we mentioned. The problem versus Navy is that Cincinnati gives up rushing yards like they don't practice defending against the run. They've given up over 225 yards in 4 of their last 6 games coming in. Satterfield with Cincy just 6-10 ATS as an underdog. And Cincinnati did beat this team back a few years ago out of the pandemic in back-to-back seasons, 27-20 and 20-10. You're always going to have the same type of Navy team, but Cincinnati's definitely looking just to finish this one up. But they're here. They're in the bowl game at the Liberty Bowl. Let's get your comments in this one. The underdog has covered 7 of the last 8 Liberty Bowls. And look, you don't have to think that you missed the spread on Navy. Really, it was just a reissuance of the spread, after all the opt-outs and personnel decisions were kind of already determined. So it's not something where you'd say, hey, I could have got them at +1, but I can't take them now because they're favored by 7. They're favored by 7 with this group against Cincinnati. Let's see what you think, though, in the chat. Here, Zach says, yeah, Navy's not going to be affected by the opt-outs. They've basically just getting ready for their careers in the Navy. All right. Mr. Wesker says Cincinnati. He's going to take Cincinnati in this one. Greg likes Cincinnati to roll over Navy here. He's got them by 11. Wow. A little bit of over there. LALB's on Navy. Jerry can only bet Navy here. And Greg says Navy can't beat them. Cincinnati will just outscore them. Cincinnati beat some good teams, he said, this season. They beat Baylor. That was a pretty impressive win, 41-20. But again, Cincinnati, it's not the same team. Yeah, you got new players stepping up, stepping in here at this point. But I've got this one as a blowout for Navy. I think they'll win this one by double digits here and crush Cincinnati at the Liberty Bowl. And Mr. 4600's liking the Navy here as well. All right. Next up, let's go to the Mayo Bowl. You know it. Who's going to get dumped in the Mayo? If you take the Idaho Potato Bowl and mix it, does anybody do the mayo and French fries thing? Wake Forest taking on Mississippi State, another 5-7 team here on January 2nd. Mississippi State, losers of 3 straight coming in. Lost to Georgia by 20 as a 9.5-point dog. They lost to Missouri by 22 as a 7.5-point dog, and they lost to Ole Miss by 19, of course. In the Egg Bowl, 38-19 as a 7.5-point dog. But both teams pretty solid to the number this year. Both teams went 8-4 ATS this season, and Mississippi State was 3-0 against the spread as a favorite. Wake comes in off of a loss to Duke by 17, 49-32 as a 2.5-point dog that snapped a 3-game winning streak. They beat Virginia 16-9 as a dog on the road. They beat North Carolina at home by 16 as a 3.5-point favorite, and they beat Delaware 52-14, a bowl team there. They were favored by 17.5 in that one. So Wake Forest, had a pretty good season actually. Mississippi State, 5-7. I don't think that's what you're looking for, at Mississippi State, but they might have the more talented personnel here coming into this one. Of course, for Mississippi State, quarterback Blake Shapen is out of this game, and Wake has numerous opt-outs as well, as they're missing their top running back and a receiver here as well, and 2 receivers actually from the starting. From the main guys, if you will. Also, the Demon Deacons missing a starting defensive lineman coming in. Mississippi State will go with Kamario Taylor in here at quarterback, a true freshman who did play in 10 games this season and threw for nearly 400 yards. Really left less opt-outs here for the Bulldogs than the Demon Deacons in this one. And they played a pretty tough schedule. Played tough teams, played them well. Tennessee, Texas for Mississippi State, that they played very competitive. They covered against Texas, getting 7.5 points. So also they posted a home win against Arizona State. So Wake Forest isn't going to have maybe the depth that a team like Mississippi State is going to have here, despite the situation at quarterback. Let's see what you folks have in the chat here in this one at the Mayo Bowl in Charlotte. Going to the chat here in this one. And Wake Forest here for Mr. Weskers. Zach likes Wake as well. Greg likes Mississippi State in the under here. And Timmy says, got to be Wake here with that opt-out situation. Mississippi State, stronger division. They also beat Arkansas, says Greg. Yeah, like I said, tougher. You're in the SEC here. Let's see, Deacons for LALV. And Wake played one good game, and that was the game against Georgia Tech. Greg was not impressed with the win over, for example, North Carolina or Virginia. They're just not as strong. I don't know. The ACC's has the ACC had a better time of it here in the bowl season? That's what I would kind of question here, kind of wonder, if you will. Mississippi State lost 7 of their last 8 games after a 4-0 start, and then the last 5 games they gave up big time points over those last 5 games, basically allowing over 40 points per game in those games. Bulldogs were 3-0 as a favorite this year, 3-0 ATS, and under Coach Levy, they're 4-1 over the last 2 years as a favorite. SEC non-conference favorites were 18-23 against the spread this year. 4 of Mississippi State's last 5 games did go over. Wake won 6 of their last 7, in addition to that 3-in-a-row finish there. That their quarterback now that is in here, he's been in the SEC before. He played at both Auburn and South Carolina. So Wake Forest has won 3 of their last 5 bowl games coming in. Favorites are 6-3 ATS over the last 9 Mayo Bowls here. So let's see here. That's it from you guys in the chat. I'm going to take the Demon Deacons here, +3 against Mississippi State on Friday at the Mayo Bowl. All right. Here we go. Let's go to Arizona and SMU at the Holiday Bowl in San Diego. You got to wonder if this game will be ixnayed in the future as well. I mean, a game I can remember the first Holiday Bowl, but seems like time is running out for the Holiday Bowl. Arizona comes in here as a hot team, though, on a winning streak to end the season, no doubt about it. And finished strong here with wins to end the season over Colorado, blew them out. Beat KU, didn't cover, but blew out Baylor 41-17, won and covered against Cincinnati as an underdog, of course, and beat ASU in the finale 23-7. They finished 8-4, ATS 9-3 straight up. For SMU here, meanwhile, they came in off of a loss to Cal on the road, 38-35, to snap their 3-game winning streak to end the season. They had wins over Miami, BC, and Louisville, all covers there for SMU. So see what you got here in this one with Arizona and SMU. Arizona, not a lot of opt-outs here for Arizona coming in. Looks like most of their situation is intact. They did lose a lineman here, but SMU missing their defensive end star in this one. And really haven't heard very much from the guys that are in and out of this game. So SMU does have some injuries coming into this one. They've struggled against the pass, and we know that Fafita is a pretty good-looking passer here for Arizona. He's basically been a starter for 3 years, and looks like he'll be a prospect here moving forward. He's still got a year of eligibility left right now. So could be a big day here for Fafita against this SMU team. SMU did not make it to the ACC championship. Big disappointment there after a great season. They ended up going 8-4. They also went 5-7 ATS, 3-5, or 4-6 ATS in their last 10 games. But also SMU 30-10 straight up in the last 3 seasons. Really high quality program here. They're 1-3 in games decided by 11 points or less. They did win 6 of the last 8. Underdogs are 6-2 ATS in the last 8 Holiday Bowls. However, this year ACC teams just 2-6 straight up and 1-7 against the spread against the Big 12. I think there's a big advantage here actually for Arizona in this game. I'm going to take Arizona to win over SMU here. ACC non-conference favorites were 13-23 against the spread. This one's still mostly a pick. It feels like a couple books have Arizona favored, some SMU favored, and so we'll just split the difference. Maybe there isn't anything to recite as far as favored stats are concerned here. So let's hear from you in the chat in the final bowl game here. A little bit anticlimactic here with these bowl games today, but see what anybody has here in this one. How about Arizona money line for Mr. Weskers? And Greg likes SMU to win this one. Over for LALV. Zach Rossley likes Arizona. Greg says Jennings is the man here. Look, he's got plenty of starts for SMU, right? I mean, basically a dozen starts over the last 2 seasons. I think LALV liking U of A. And SMU, why wouldn't this go over when you got maybe Fafita and Jennings? I think that's what Jimmy kind of says there. All right. I guess that does it. You guys are making fun of these bowls. I guess after the big games there, a little, like I said, just not quite what we've been seeing, but hey, we're going to finish up the bowl season strong. Of course, we got the Monday night game between Illinois State and Montana State to cap the FCS championship next week. Montana State favored by 10.5 in that game. It'll be on there in ESPN, kind of in prime time on Monday in the FCS national championship. All right, that's it for the bowl games there, and I might be on a little bit contrarian on a couple of those because my hot streak came to an end on Thursday. Okay, let's go to the NBA here now. We've got a pretty healthy card on Friday of 10 games here. So settle in, get ready for NBA picks here. Did have some winners on the show here from Thursday in the NBA, as we did have the under in the Rockets and the Nets game. We also had the 76ers. We had the Celtics as well. So 3-2 there. Let's see what we got for the NBA card here on Friday. All right, start it off. Okay, the Spurs are at the Pacers here in this one. The Spurs, they're 5.5-point favorites. What's going on here? Is Wemby injured? Yeah, he's injured, all right. He's going to miss probably up to 4 weeks with a hyperextended knee. We kind of already saw it here already, but that's for the latest diagnosis here. Still dealing with an Indiana team on a pretty massive losing streak right now, and still going to be an underdog here at home against the Spurs, even with Wemby expected to miss in this game. For the Pacers here right now, they're just 8-28 here on the season. The Spurs are 24-9. Spurs did win last game over the Knicks, 134-132. You guys already talked about the bad beat there in the chat with that game. And let's see what else is going on with the injury report. Devin Vassell, he's out of this game as well. Isaiah Jackson questionable for the Pacers, but not much has changed here with their injuries in this one. San Antonio's gone 2-4 against the spread in their last 6 games overall. They're also just 6-12 in the last 18 meetings against Indiana, but again, Indiana in a funk here, having lost 10 straight games right now and 5 straight games at home. San Antonio's gone under in 6 of their last 8 games overall, but they are 10-8 to the over on the road. This series has gone over in 9 of the last 13 games between the two teams, including 5 of the last 6 here in Indiana. I think the Spurs are probably still going to be good enough to win and cover this game. The Spurs won the first meeting at San Antonio 133 to 104 as a 5.5 point favorite. Spurs have failed to cover in 3 straight games. Indiana, meanwhile, has covered in their last 2 games despite losing to Orlando and Houston. They're 10-8 against the spread at home. And the Spurs are just 8-11-2 against the spread as a favorite, but the Pacers just aren't impressing anybody, or at least not coming close. They finally did cover 2 games, but before that, they were losing and failing. So maybe they're just starting to get enough points here. I'm going to take the Spurs in this one. Lay 5.5 on the road at the Pacers. Okay, here you go with some comments here, including Mr. Weskers. He says Wemby is not acting very professional. All right, Mr. Weskers, also the Pacers keep covering and not winning. They did cover the last 2. They were not covering before that. But again, I think you look at it where, the convergence of when do they start covering, right? So maybe they are getting closer here, but I still got to take the Spurs, you guys. But here's LALV on the Pacers. Greg says Spurs here by 2. Timmy likes the Pacers and the points at home. Mr. Weskers might be with me, though, there. He said Pacers keep covering, but I think maybe the adjustment's a little bit too much for the Wemby absence. That could be it. They won't cover without Wemby. They might close the game and win by 4. Timmy Two Shoes likes Castle. Greg said he wouldn't be even surprised if the Pacers win this game. I would. They've lost 10 in a row right now, and it has not been good. But I'm going to take the Spurs. Brooklyn Nets take on the Washington Wizards in a hotly contested rivalry between 2 of the worst teams in the league. You got Brooklyn here, 10-21, losers of 2 straight. Washington's won 3 of 4 for one of the best runs of the year right now. They're coming in off of a road win over Milwaukee as a 10.5-point dog. They've won and covered 3 out of their last 4 games right now. For Brooklyn, coming in here, they are. Is it really 7.5? No, we got this line wrong, guys. I mean, I can't go 1 game without getting the spread wrong here. You got the Nets are favored in this one by 1.5, 226.5. I don't. I just got the wrong line in here. Overall, there we go. Sorry about that, gang. Oh, I think I had the Knicks line in there twice. That's what it was. Correct my sheet here. All right. For the Nets, they're a favorite. They're a favorite. This is only the second time all season the Nets have been a favorite. They did cover the first time. They were a favorite, and they're 8-6 against the spread on the road. Meanwhile, Washington just 13-19 against the spread right now. But again, playing some of their best basketball of the season. Brooklyn's actually lost their last 2 at home and didn't cover as underdogs. They got beat by the Warriors by 23, and they lost yesterday to Houston 120-96 as a 13.5-point underdog. So see what you have here between these 2. For Washington, they are 10-5 to the over at home. So let's see what you got here. This game obviously could have been passed on, but hey, it's not a lot of games going on. We're on a night card here on Friday night. These 2 teams met back on November the 16th, and it was 129-106. Brooklyn got the win in that one. But Washington playing a little bit better right now than Brooklyn. Let's see what you got in the chat, if anything, with this ball game here. All right. And Nets, yep, got you there. Wizzo here for Zach. Make sure you take that into consideration there. Two bums take Washington. Brooklyn's tired. They played yesterday. That's exactly what I'm looking at. Look, like I said, you got a Washington team that actually shown some life here. They beat Toronto, they beat Memphis, and then they beat Milwaukee 3 out of the last 4 games. Meanwhile, you got a Brooklyn team that's going back to losing. They did have a little bit of a winning streak in there, and yeah, they might have played some tough teams, but I think Washington gets this one here, actually. Zach's on the whiz as well. Greg says Wizards here by 3. LALB likes the over in this one. And Greg says Brooklyn, Utah, and Dallas are garbage. Well, that's a terrible thing to say. Come on. These are professional basketball teams here. All right. I'm going to take the Wizards here in this one. Weren't they? I had them by 7.5, right, gang? All right. And Greg says Brooklyn's played better against good teams. I think he's saying they played better against. Maybe they played down to their opposition. Is that what you're saying, Greg? Or that maybe they're a little bit a better team because they played better against good teams and proved themselves. And Timmy, they're concerned, of course, about the injury report in this game. Porter Jr. is questionable. Terrence Mann questionable. Demeen is questionable as well. And for the Wizards here, you got Kispert questionable. Keyshawn George is out of this game. Cam Whitmore remains out. Hawks and Knicks NBA action here for Friday. The Knicks 23-10, 7.5-point favorite, had their 3-game winning streak snapped last time out in a loss to the Spurs, of course. In that game, they did cover. Remember, it's funny, they were winning games but not covering. Then when they lost, they covered. The Knicks, of course, are an outrageous 14-4 against the spread at home this season, but going up against a Hawks team that's 12-6 against the spread as an underdog and 11-7 against the spread at home. Maybe they've met their match. Atlanta here coming in off of a win over Minnesota that did snap a 4-game losing streak, 126-102, but they did cover against the Knicks and against OKC leading up to that. So maybe they're starting to play a little bit better here. That, like I said, the Knicks weren't covering as a favorite, but then they covered as a dog, and now they're back to being a favorite here, but they're back at home where they usually cover as a favorite. Oh, man, this is crazy. Anyway, these two teams are a combined 40-29 to the over this season. The Knicks have been going over quite a bit here of late. Knicks have gone over in 5 of their last 6 games. Atlanta's gone over in 8 of their last 12. And this series has gone over in 6 of the last 9 matchups. I got to think this one, it is 245, but I am going with the over in this one between Atlanta and New York. I got to take the over with the way these two have been going over right now. And they did meet already back on December 27th. It went 128-125. That would have been over this number at 253. The Knicks won it. But did not cover. Atlanta actually got the money there, and that was at Atlanta. So just a 2-point difference between the spread. The Knicks were a 5.5-point favorite, obviously just less than a week ago at Atlanta. Now they're 7.5-point favorites at home here against Atlanta less than a week later. Trae Young is out, but I think I don't know. Are most of us in the boat of better without Trae? I know I always kind of clarify and say, well, okay, it's a cute thing to say, but you'd probably want to have him in there. With Trae, I don't know. The Knicks here, Mitch Robb is questionable. Hart is out, and Shamit's been out for a couple of weeks now. Let's get the plays from the chat in this one. See what you have. Thank you, everybody, for being here. How about Timmy Chuchu? He's got to go with Kolak. I mean, this guy is on fire right now. Let's see here. And Mr. Wesker's talking about that bad beat in the last Knicks game. Atlanta, because New York can't cover spreads, says Zach Rossley. Maybe, but New York is one of the best home covers in the league at 14-4 right now. also 17-12 as a favorite. The Knicks have been a good cover team. Atlanta actually is sub 500 against the spread. Greg is on the Knicks here, it looks like. Oh, he's on the Hawks there. Just says Knicks to win it, but that would be a Hawks play, huh? LALV's on the over. And Mr. Wester says they should just deal Trae Young, get him out of here. They'd be better off. Somebody could use him. Atlanta usually beats them. Quick revenge here, he says. Yep, the Knicks have won 4 straight in this series, but just 2-2 against the spread in those games. And maybe that's it from you guys in the chat. I guess I'm on the over here with Atlanta and the Knicks. Denver Nuggets, Cleveland Cavaliers, NBA action here for Friday night. You got the Cavs here favored big time with Nikola Jokic still out here now. 13 is the number. I mean, I know one guy is important, but, what would this number be with him in the lineup? I know there are some other big time injuries here for Denver. They're really up against it. Valanciunas, he is out. Cameron Johnson remains out right now. Bates is out. Gordon's been out now for over a week here. Christian Brown, he's been out with that ankle sprain. So just a lot of pieces missing here, not just Jokic for Cleveland. DeAndre Hunter, questionable. That's pretty much it. Look, you can kind of maybe throw the numbers out the window a little bit. Cleveland is still the worst spread team in the league at 12-23. They're really the worst spread team by far. They're also 6-14 against the spread at home, 9-20 against the spread as a favorite. Meanwhile, Denver's good against the spread, no doubt about it. 19-14 ATS, 10-8 ATS on the road, 4-2 ATS as a dog. But it's just a matter of, do you think that with these injuries here, and not to mention Cleveland has been covering all of a sudden, just made fun of them for all those spread losses as the worst spread team in the league, but they've actually covered 4 of their last 5, having won 4 out of their last 6 games. They just wrapped up consecutive wins and covers to end 2025 over the Spurs, over the Suns for a couple of wins. And like I said, they are covering here. Now, this series has gone over in 7 straight meetings. What complexion the game will have with the personnel changes might be one something to consider here. Denver has gone over in 8 of their last 10 on the road, and also 4 of their last 5 overall. 7 of the last 10 meetings between these two teams over the last 5 years have gone over here. Last 10 years, 7 of the last 10 in Cleveland have gone over here with these two. So, man, this looks tough for Denver. I think the spread tells you what you need to know in this game with that 13-point spread. You could say this is probably the one. Maybe Denver sucks it up here. Let me go to the chat. I think it's going to still be Denver here with you guys, but let's see. Okay, Denver plays no defense, depth issues, big time problems here for Denver, says Mr. Westers. Greg says Denver looked good against Toronto without Jokic in the 106-103 win on the road. Timmy says he'll probably get smoked here. There's got to be a game where it finally comes to missing Jokic, and the Cavs have pretty much everyone in there. Nuggets for LALB. Zach Rossley likes Cleveland in this one. And Greg here, he likes Denver here in this one. And he likes it way over here. I'm going to take the over here. I'm a little bit scared. I kind of want to take Cleveland too with that big spread. Supposed to be telling you how one-sided this game is going to be. But I'll take the over with the Nuggets and the Cavs. All right, next up. Make sure I got the right game here, fam. I think there was a time change in here a little bit. Next up's the Trailblazers taking on the Pelicans. Here, Trailblazers favored by 1 on the road over New Orleans. Total 243.5 here. New Orleans is on a losing streak right now. Man, just when they start to put it together, they get shot down. They've lost 5 in a row right now. They have covered 8 of their last 10 games at home overall. Portland does pretty well in this series. They've gone 5-1-1 against the Pelicans in the last. They did split a pair of meetings so far this season in here in New Orleans. Both games so far have been in New Orleans. New Orleans lost 125-117 to the Blazers as a 8.5 point dog. They actually got the money there in that one, did New Orleans, and they won at home 143-120 as a 4 point dog back on December 11th. New Orleans' losing streak is involved going 1-4 ATS. They could only cover getting 8 at home against the Knicks. Meanwhile, they've had spread losses to Cleveland, to Phoenix twice, and to the Bulls. For Portland here, they had won 2 straight with wins and covers over Boston and Dallas before they hit the road and lost by 29 at OKC on New Year's Eve. There, remember, I was on a lot of favorites there on New Year's Eve. New Orleans 20-14 against the spread this season, 13-7 against the spread at home. Portland, they are a favorite here. They're just 3-9 as a favorite. Even if they were not, I mean, that is a terrible sign, right? I mean, come on. You're not going to be more than a 1 point, less than a 1 point favorite. So 3-9 against the spread. I don't, as a favorite, I don't care if they're 2 point favorites. That just screams that this is not a great matchup. I don't care how bad New Orleans has been here. And they've played a tough little schedule here of late. So there's, this team has not graduated yet. We know that. New Orleans gone over in 12 of their last 18 games coming in. These are pretty strong over teams combining to go 40-29 to the over so far this season. Talk about Portland and how bad they are as a favorite. They're also 10-2 to the over as a favorite here. So, at 242, Portland's gone under in 6 of their last 7, but I think against this opponent, probably less likely. They, like I said, 263 points in the last meeting, 242 points in the meeting before that with a 232 total. So I'm going to go ahead and take New Orleans here to end this losing streak, but I think I like the total here too. I like New Orleans in this one over the Blazers on Friday night. See what you guys have here with the Trail Blazers and Pelicans. It's got to be an over, right, Timmy? I mean, come on. Greg says he likes the Pelicans here as well, and I think he prefers the over. Says it's a safe bet with no defense out there. Timmy says both sides have the shooters to keep it chucking here with this matchup. Now, Jeremy Grant is out for the Blazers. For the Pelicans here, Herb Jones is out, and I believe Alvarado's ready to come back. LALB likes the over. Zach Rossley is on the Blazers here. Greg says if Zion plays, the Pelicans are going to win. I don't think there's been any indication here that he won't. And Mr. Wester says this is a buy low spot on Portland. Too much public love on the. I didn't realize that people were on the public was on the Pelicans. After all, they've lost 5 straight and 4 of their last 5. But maybe they're feeling square like I am and taking them here. So I'm on them. I'm on the Pelicans. Next up, the Magic and the Bulls. NBA action for Friday night here in Chicago. Orlando comes in with a 19-15 record. They've been alternating wins and losses of late. They're off of a win over Indiana, 112-110 on the road. They did fail both the games on the road here that they just came off of. They lost to Toronto as well. Chicago's off of a home win over New Orleans, 134-118. That snapped a 2-game losing streak. Chicago is one of the best underdogs in the league this season with a 13-4 record overall coming in. And Orlando, not a good favorite. 9-15 is a favorite against the spread, 7-10 against the spread on the road. Not the best role for Orlando coming into this one against this Chicago team that, well, are they hot? Are they cold? I just don't know with this team right now. They're so inconsistent. However, Chicago's won and covered 6 of their last 8 coming in. Orlando has won 7 of the last 10 meetings between the two, but only went 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 meetings between the two teams. So they usually win, but do not cover, just as they did back on November the 1st when Orlando won at home 125-120 as a 9.5-point favorite. Back in October, the Bulls won at home 110-98. They were a 6.5-point underdog in that one. A very similar spread to this one here. That was a 208 total in that one. So I think it goes right along the lines of that game here. I'll take the Bulls. I think they can win this game, and I think they can do it by holding Orlando down here defensively. Chicago's gone under in 9 of their last 10 games at home right now. They're 5-12 to the under at home, and Orlando's gone under in 5 of their last 6 games, despite being 9-8 to the over on the road. They've been playing under of late as well. So I'm going to take the Bulls, but I think this is way too high also on that total at 237. Let's see what you have in the chat in this one. All right. And it's going to be Mr. Weskers can't get behind Orlando as a favorite here, of course. I mean, man, they've been really terrible as a favorite. Greg likes Orlando here to win. LALB likes the Bulls to win on the money line. Timmy's on the under here as well. And Greg says, Giddy's playing, take the Bulls. Right now, his status here for this game tonight. Let me see what else is going on here also, if we can get the injured list. Franz Wagner, he's still out for Orlando. Jet Howard, questionable. Jonathan Isaac, questionable. I've got Giddy out of this game, actually, still. Kobe White, he's also out. Trenton Flowers, he's going to be out of this game. Olbrick is out. And so, yeah, there's definitely some injuries here for the Bulls big time here in this game. But I'm still taking them here over Orlando tonight. Zach's on the Bulls as well. Mr. Wesker is on Orlando here. Now we've got the Hornets taking on the Bucks. The Hornets come in here off a pair of losses. They're 11-22 overall. They lost to this Bucks team at home, 123-113 as a 2.5-point dog on the 29th. And they lost to Golden State as a 7.5-point dog. Still, Charlotte's 16-12 against the spread as an underdog. Milwaukee just 6-9 against the spread as a favorite. Milwaukee coming in off that home upset loss to Washington. 114-113 is a 10.5-point favorite. Before that, they had won and covered road games against Chicago, and then that win at Charlotte here. So let's see what you got. Milwaukee is 6.5-point favorite, and the total is 231. Milwaukee has gone just 6-14 straight up in their last 20. Also, though, they're 4-2 against the spread in their last 6. They've gone under in 7 of their last 9 games. These two teams are combined to go 27-40 to the under so far this season. In fact, Charlotte is 10-18 to the under as a dog. Let's go to the chat here in this one and see what you have. This series has gone under in 11 of the last 16 meetings coming in. It feels like the Sharps want to go over here, but Charlotte's gone under in 12 of their last 17 coming in. See what you got here in this one. Hornets could win this one outright, says Mr. Weskers. Under for LALV. I got to agree with LALV here and take the under. The Sharps are taking the over here, I'm pretty sure, just judging from this line and the line movement, but that's just straight speculation. In fact, it's 233.5 now since I typed these in during the football game tonight. There we go. 233.5 now, and the line might be down to 6. So, look, I like the under here. I'm getting even 2 points. Maybe that should have been a premium here, but still, that's what I said. The Sharps are taking this one over in this matchup. I'm pretty sure of that. See if we got any other comments here. Bucks need this game. He says if Giannis plays, they cover. Oh man, let me go to the injury report because I didn't even think he was even on the injured list here. Let's see. For the Hornets, Diabate questionable. Kalkbrenner still out. Plumlee still out. Miles Bridges probable, and for the Bucks, they really got a clean injury report. I don't see anything really going on short term here for the Bucks. So I think Giannis is in there for sure. I've seen no indication that he's even close to being questionable in this game. Mr. Wesker says the Hornets turn a new leaf here in the new year. Albeit with a bad record, the Bucks have lost their identity, and Giannis is out of here. The one thing about Giannis so far, though, and I did comment on this, is that coming in off the injury, definitely, it's like I think the rest, you're healing, you're healing your injury, but he really has. I mean, it's like opening night again, and he has come out really. We know how awesome he is, but he really has been really awesome in the last few games. But still, okay, Greg here, 120 to 110, says Greg, as he likes the Bucks. Easy cover there. He likes them to blow them out. Okay. Does seem like does seem a little bit low on the spread. I'll even admit that. I know the Bucks look. It doesn't look great with a 14-20 record. They've been not great here, obviously, this season, but maybe they're turning it around. It was a stunner. They just like that. They handle their business. They cover a spread, and then they lose to Washington. All right, the Kings are taking on the Suns here in action from Friday, and for Friday night, as we've got the Suns here favored by a dozen. Wow, 228. Yeah, Kings are having some woes here. 8-26 right now, losers of 3 straight. Meanwhile, Phoenix did lose their last time out, snapping their winning streak as they lost to Cleveland 129-113 on the road. They were pretty hot actually before that. These two teams did meet already a couple of times this season. Phoenix won them both and covered the spread both times, but they were only favored by 3.5 in the first meeting and then by 4.5 in the second meeting. Now you got to lay 12 the way things have unfolded this season. But hey, Phoenix is one of the best favorites in the league. They're 12-2 against the spread, 11-4 against the spread at home. Meanwhile, Sacramento, one of the worst spread teams in the league, period. 12-22 ATS, 11-20 ATS is a dog, and 7-11 against the spread on the road. Phoenix has gone under in 10 of 15 home games. They're also 4-10 here as a favorite. Sacramento, meanwhile, also an under team, 13-18 to the under on the road, with the total at 228 here. Actually down to 226.5. So, I'm going with the under in this one with the Kings and the Suns. But, man, the Suns might get a blowout here, won't they? I'll take the under here. But, yeah, man, you got a good spread team, just like last night. What was that game last night where we had one of the best spread teams against one of the worst, and one of the worst spread teams ended up getting that win anyways? Maybe it'll happen again in this one, but I'll take the under here, I guess, with this one. All right, and we go with the Suns here for Zach. And LALV's on the Suns as well. So it's got to give me the Suns here. You got O'Neal, Gillespie, and Phoenix will crown the Kings. Greg has them by 19 in a blowout here, and that's an under. All right, I'm on the under here as my play, but yeah, got to see here. Look, the Kings would have covered 12 points in both. Well, I guess it was a 12-point win there in that last one. All right, under also for LALV. The Thunder on the road here, taking on the Warriors. Thunder 29-5. They've won 3 straight once again after their losses to the Spurs. Meanwhile, for the Warriors here, winners of 2 straight on the road. They finished that road trip up and they beat Charlotte 132-125. They got the cover there. I got lucky maybe. They weren't really covering there until near the end of the game, but they did get it. Thunder here, forward Jalen Williams questionable, Uzumane Dang questionable, Hartenstein still out for the Thunder. They come in with a few injuries here, to say the least. OKC here, their wins were over Philadelphia, Atlanta, and Portland, all at home. They did go 2-1 against the spread, and well, they're not laying 15 at least for once here. Golden State is 8-6 against the spread at home. The teams met twice already this season. The Thunder won them both, and they covered the spread as 8.5-point favorites at home, and then 11.5-point favorites here back on December the 2nd. So it's closed the gap here a little bit right now. Let's see what you have in this one with these two. And we'll go to the chat. Okay. Warriors first half here for LALV. Timmy thinks it'll be an overtime game. Greg says he's got this one right on the number there pretty much. And LALV likes the over in this one. Maybe I can talk a little bit about the total here. I mean, you got the Warriors 21-13 to the over, but most of that has been at on the road, and as a favorite here, they're just 5 over and 5 under as a dog. Oklahoma City just 2-4 against 6 against Golden State, although 6-2 straight up against the Warriors. Oklahoma City also, has been great. They beat everybody but the Spurs. We know that. 12 of the last 13 meetings between these two teams have gone over. I think that's good enough for me. Let's take the over in this one. I know the Sharps are going to be on the under in this one for sure. But that sounds pretty solid. Only 228.5 with this series going 12-1 to the over. I'm willing to take a chance on that over with these two. The game it did go under was last November when the Thunder won here at Golden State 105-101. Other than that, they've been going over here for the last 3 years every game when these two teams meet. And Greg says the Thunder took Portland to Smack City with that 29-point win there and got the money. All right, the Grizzlies are playing the Lakers here in LA. Lakers 4.5, 238.5. Lakers 20-11, but we don't know what's wrong with this team all of a sudden. They just told us. They said the team is dysfunctional and not looking good. We have to believe them. Lakers coming in off of a home loss to Detroit, 128-106. We had the Pistons in that one. They did beat up on Sacramento at home, but before that, big-time losses, got blown out by the Clippers, by Phoenix, and by Houston. Memphis, meanwhile, loses of 2 straight to Washington and Philadelphia. They did have wins over Utah and Milwaukee. Still, Memphis, one of the worst underdogs in the league with a 5-13 spread record overall here. So can the Lakers fix themselves a little bit here against Memphis without Austin Reeves. Does seem to be kind of a little bit of a glue player despite the two superstars on the Lakers. Hachimura is out of this game for the Grizzlies. Vince Williams is out. KCP is questionable. Jalen Wells is questionable as well. And, they've just had plenty of injuries this season for Memphis right now. Lakers are still a massive over team at home, 12-2 to the over, but it should be noted that Memphis 6-12 to the under is a dog and 5-12 to the under on the road. So a little bit of a contrast there, given it's just that 7 of the last 9 meetings between these two teams have gone over. So to me, it's kind of like you wave that a little bit with Memphis and their under tendencies. You figure it'll go back to maybe an over here, but the two unders have been 2 of the last 3 meetings between these two teams. The teams met back on Halloween. It was 117 to 112. The Lakers won at home as a 2-point favorite there, and it did go well under in that one. Memphis just 1-6 straight up in their last 7 against the Lakers overall, and the Lakers have 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 here with some of the problems that they're having. So this one's tough. Can't get out of their own way, these two teams, it seems like right now. And let's see what we got. All right. Lakers money line for Mr. Weskers. He's also going to parlay the Lakers. Timmy Choo-Choo says, I'm going to go with the Grizz here. The only team the Lakers can beat now is the Kings. They're in trouble. Detroit coming off the loss. Lakers, if Luka plays. Oh, I don't see any reason why Luka wouldn't play in this game. No indication that it's his rest day or anything like that. LALB says the Lakers -4. Luka with a big game. And the Grizz can keep up with LeBron, says Timmy Choo-Shoes. Greg likes Memphis. Sprinkle the money line. Timmy says, why is it Lakers only -4? I think, you have Reeves is out of this game, and the Lakers, even admittedly, their coach has come out and said the team is not performing professionally. That was his quote about over a week ago. Since then, the Lakers had not been playing well. So Robot Glock is here, and he likes Memphis in this one. All right, I'm on the Lakers here to win and cover over Memphis. I'll take the Lakers and lay 4 points. Robot Glock says the Lakers are broken. Yeah, I'm still going up against a Memphis team that is 5-13 against the spread as a dog. All right, I think that's it for the NBA. How about that? Hey, we've got a nice college basketball card on Friday with some good matchups here. Let's take a look at what we got here in some of these. I'm just looking at 5 games or so on the Friday card. And we'll start it off with, whoops. Oh, I got 6 games here. All right, let's start it off here with Sam Houston taking on Western Michigan. College basketball action here for Friday at 5 Eastern and 6 Pacific, with Sam on the road, a 4.5-point dog against the Toppers. Total 163 here in this one. And for Sam Houston, they've covered the spread here in 8 of their last 9 games overall. They're 8-4 straight up. Western Kentucky 7-5 straight up, back-to-back losses versus Tulsa and at Jacksonville State. Sam Houston's one of the best spread teams in the country so far with that 8-1 spread record. They're actually 8-4 overall, but 8-1 here, ATS. Western Kentucky's 6-3 against the spread in their last 9 games overall. Western Kentucky just 1-4 ATS their last 5 against Conference USA competition. Sam's gone over in 5 of their last 6 coming in. They're 7-1 to the over on the road, 6-0 to the over as an underdog. Meanwhile, for Western Kentucky, they're 4-1 to the over as a favorite, and they've gone over in 6 of their last 9 games. But like I said, Sam's one of the best spread teams in the country. Western Kentucky just 2-3 at ATS as a favorite. Gonna have to try Sam here as an underdog. Great spread record and getting points here. Now, granted, you could look at this total. The two teams are combined 13-6 to the over. And a lot of those trends would point to the over right now, given the fact that Sam 7-1 to the over on the road, 6-0 to the over as a dog. See what you got here in this one, if anything. I'm checking out. Let's see, WKU for Timmy Chushu. And look, Robot Glock says, look, they played the 34th toughest schedule, and they're 8-1 against the spread on that schedule. That is really impressive for Sam. Not only that, I mean, they're a winning team. They are 2-4 straight up on the road. And they were underdogs, I think in all. Let me see, were they underdogs in all their road games so far this season? No, they won and covered at Texas Southern as a 7.5-point favorite. They're actually coming in off of a loss at New Mexico State. They were 5.5-point dogs and lost by 9. Robot Glock Sam on the money line. Timmy Chushu, Western Kentucky at home. Greg likes Ham Houston here to cover the spread, and he likes it just over, it looks like there. All right, that's it for that one. That is a good game. And this one, not so good, but I did want to talk about it with, look, I mean, USC does come in here with a pretty okay record, but still, you're going up against the mighty Michigan Wolverines. USC's 12-1, guys, with a ranked 24th. They've been a bit of a surprise as well, no doubt about it. They haven't had a tough schedule necessarily, but they are just 6-6 ATS and 3-6 ATS in their last 9 overall coming in. But Michigan, 6-2 against the spread at home, 8-4 against the spread overall. Of this 12-0 record for the number 2 team in the country. Seems like they're number 1, doesn't it? And they're still favored by 22 here against SC. Can you believe it? SC's one loss was to Washington, 84-76 at home as a 4.5-point favorite. Like I said, it has not been a difficult schedule. Not trying to fool anybody here, obviously, with a 22-point spread. But Michigan beat McNeese as a 22.5-point favorite here at Chrysler by 41 points. They covered 40 at home against LaSalle. They won by 52. They beat Maryland on the road by 18. They were favored by 19.5 in that one. Oh, shucks. Covered at home against Villanova by 28 as a 17.5-point favorite. Beat Rutgers by 41 as a 25.5-point favorite. You want to give SC a chance, but gosh, can they really do it? The widely reported steam did come in on the over in this game. It's at 169.5, maybe even a little bit higher right now, coming in. Maybe it's 170 or so. But Michigan, the 7-1 against the spread, their last 8 games overall, despite that, I don't want to say mediocre spread record. I mean, they're still 67% hitting. USC just 3-6 ATS in their last 9. SC's gone over in 8 of their last 9 on the road, dating back to last season, and they've gone over in 6 of their last 7 games overall here. So 22 points, a tough spread to mess with. I guess I'll take the over here. I think I prefer Michigan, to cover the big number, but I'll take the over here. Maybe a more realistic play. Let's see if the chat likes this one. An interesting game, right? Michigan here by 17 for Robot Glock. Greg says Woodshed, but it is still right on the number there, it looks like. Not going to cover with that. Robot Glock says 173 would push it over. Indeed, it would. Michigan team total over. Can USC help with that? Michigan scores 100 on USC. The other part. There we go. Now, these two teams did meet pretty much exactly 1 year ago. It was 85-74. Michigan won at SC as a 5.5 point favorite. USC does have some offense, says Robot Glock. Yeah, they scored 97 against Texas, San Antonio, 94 against San Diego. But I'll go over here. Let me go ahead and update the total just so I don't think I'm messing with a lower total. I'll call it 171, and we'll go over here with USC and Michigan. All right, more Big Ten action here with Oregon taking on Maryland. Oregon favored by 2.5, total 151. You've got Oregon here 7-6. Maryland is 7-6 right now. Oregon's won 3 of 4 coming in. They've covered 4 straight. However, they are 0-3 against the spread on the road and 4-9 against the spread overall. They were struggling to the number early, but now have kicked it in gear. Maryland, meanwhile, has just snapped a 3-game losing streak with a win over Old Dominion. 73-58 is a 14.5 point favorite. They've covered 3 straight despite losing 3 of their last 4 coming in. Maryland has gone here just a 1-5 straight up as an underdog, and USC's 7-1 straight up as a favorite, but the spreads were bigger. These two teams have combined to go 17-9 to the over so far this season. Also, Maryland 5-1 to the over as an underdog, and Oregon 5-3 to the over as a favorite here. So these two teams last year, their first meeting was 83-79. Oregon won at home as a 4.5 point favorite here. I would like to be getting just a couple of more points, so let me take the over in this one for now. I don't know if we'll get any better. Maryland could win this game for sure. They might. Oregon playing just their second true road game of the season so far. Their first road game was a loss at UCLA. 74-63 is an 8.5 point dog. They lost by 11 in an under in that one. So Maryland might fancy their chances here. I might fancy their chances here as well. See what you guys got in the chat, and we'll keep it rolling here. Maryland and the points for Robot Glock. Mr. Wesker's liking Oregon here. Greg says Oregon 73-70. Likes Oregon there to win and cover on the road. And hello to Dominic Mitchum in the chat. Thank you, Dom. Nice to see you there. Greg says Maryland can't beat them. All right. Next up, how about this one from the ACC with Louisville taking on Stanford. Louisville, an 8.5 point favorite on the road here. Louisville's 11-2. They're ranked 16th, but Stanford's 11-3. Unranked. They just had their winning streak snapped in the Stanford Cardinal when they lost to Notre Dame in a strange one, 47-40. Now, we were on Notre Dame in that game. Notre Dame got that win. Stanford had consecutive wins over San Jose, Arlington, Colorado, and Northridge, although so far Stanford 2-0 against the spread as an underdog, but Louisville's 6-1 against the spread as a favorite. Louisville comes in here off back-to-back wins over Montana, and they just beat Cal. Say hanging out here in the Bay Area over the New Year. They did win 90-70 over the Bears on the road as an 8.5 point favorite. They're covering pretty well right now. Are the Cardinals? coming into this one. They covered against Montana as well at home. They did lose at Tennessee by 21, but they covered at home against Memphis, and they won impressively at Indiana. Louisville is so far 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games overall. They've gone over in 5 of their last 6 games, although Stanford here 0-2 to the under as a dog so far. Stanford's gone under in 7 of their last 10. Stanford, though, just 2-4 against the spread in their last 6 games overall here. I think Stanford, man, they've got a nice record here still. Coming in, and they are getting these points. Louisville won last year. The two teams met twice. The regular season meeting at Louisville was 68-48 in favor of Louisville as they covered 10.5. Then they met in the postseason. It was 75-73. Louisville got the win also as a 10.5 point favorite. So let's see what you got here in this one. A lot of points. I mean, Stanford here, you got to consider they got a good record, but Louisville is expected to be the more widely respected team here anyway. All right, Louisville will win this one by 10. Stanford is terrible, says Greg. All right. Well, like I said, they've had some wins here. They've had, some covers for sure so far. I mean, I know the schedule hasn't been great for them on some of these, but they did beat Colorado in there. That was an ugly game, though, against Notre Dame for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and take Louisville in this one to get it done here. I'll take the Ville on the road. There, Greg says they should be getting 12. Mr. Wesker, though, says take Stanford and the points. And Timmy says Louisville's going to be showing out. Stanford is not ready for this type of team, says Greg. All right, now we got a good one here. Like I said, the first time, I think they said the third time in 35 years that teams with this, basically both teams at least 13 games played with no more than one loss. That is the official terminology of this matchup. That's hard to believe, but thanks to the Sports Bureau and that one. Michigan State here is going to be an underdog at Nebraska. Nebraska by 2. They're 13-0. Michigan State is 12-1. Nebraska's ranked 13th right now. Michigan State ranked 9th. Here in Michigan State, the only loss of the season was that game to Duke, as you guys mentioned, 66-60. Duke came in here and won in East Lansing. For Nebraska, meanwhile, they have failed to cover in each of their last 2 victories against North Dakota and New Hampshire, despite the fact that these two teams are combined 25-1 straight up. They are a combined 12-14 against the spread. So they're equally rated, I guess, if you know what I mean. The widely reported steam did come in on the under here right now. The total currently in the game is now 142.5. So look at that. We got to drop this total for sure. 2.5 points since when I typed this in last, all the way down to 142.5. Could see 143.5 at some of the books, but the sharp book here in Las Vegas says 142.5. And why wouldn't it go under? It feels like Nebraska's 4-8 to the under at home. Michigan State has went under in both of their games as an underdog. The teams here met. Last season's meeting was 89-52. Michigan State won impressively as a 7-point favorite at home in an under at 146.5. They scored 141 points in the game, all of them by Michigan State pretty much. So I'll take the under here in this one. In this big game. Wow, it's a good game. One of the games of the year to date. That's for sure. Okay. Timmy Two Shoes likes the under here. Robot Glock says take Nebraska first half money line. Got to go with Izzo, says Greg. Robot Glock might go Nebraska first half. Michigan State full game. I hope you get paid well. Also, Mr. Wesker says this one's going to land right on the number. Greg says he's got it by 3. He's got Michigan State by 3, the 2.5-point dog winning on the road. Mr. Wesker says Izzo couldn't even cover a bedspread. All right. I got one more here on this card. It's another ACC matchup. I would have said go with, it just probably would have been too controversial, but you got the two teams in, California. Why wouldn't it be the Transatlantic Conference? All right. Notre Dame on the road here, 10-4. Cal's 12-2 coming in, but Cal's coming off one of their 2 losses. They lost to Louisville here at home, 90-70. Notre Dame, meanwhile, they lost to Fort Wayne at home in an upset before coming back to beat Stanford on the road. They still have a good record, and they are 4-1 as a home. I'm sorry, 4-1 ATS as a road underdog so far this season. For Cal, meanwhile, they are 11-1 straight up at home, 10-0 straight up as a favorite, and they are they had beaten some weaker competition for sure. They haven't played the toughest schedule, but neither has Notre Dame, quite frankly. For Notre Dame here, they have covered 6 of their last 7 games overall. Cal just 2-4 ATS in their last 6, despite this run of victories that they're on. Notre Dame also 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games on the road. They did a heck of a job defensively in that game against Stanford. A bizarre, that 47-40 game there was quite bizarre. I'm going to take Notre Dame plus the points here in this one. I like what they've done so far as a road underdog, and I'll take them here against Cal on Friday night. I think you look at the totals. I mentioned Cal going under here a bit. They are 4-8 to the under at home, 3-7 to the under as a favorite. Meanwhile, Notre Dame talked about that 4-1 record as a road underdog. They're also 1-4 in those games, 1-4 to the under in those games. All right, here's Mr. Wesker's on Cal, but Robot Glock likes Notre Dame to win. Says their coach is crazy. Let's see. Timmy on the under here in this one. And Robot Clock says maybe 47 in that last game. Yeah, 47 to 40. Hey, we were on the right side. Greg says it'll be a 3-point win here for Cal. So I think he likes Notre Dame there, maybe a shade to the under. That might be it for the colleges here. All right, let's get to the NHL here on Friday night. We got a 4-game card to look at, and we'll be wrapped up here on Night Moves. Getting ready for the big NFL weekend for sure. Wow. Starting with those Saturday games. Okay, let's go to the ice where we've got the Golden Knights on the road in a matinee here at St. Louis at 2:07 Central Time. 3:07 Eastern, 12:07 Pacific, with Vegas $1.50 on the road, maybe $1.55. Vegas comes in 17, 10, and 11, but they've lost 3 straight right now. Eichel was supposed to come back. I think he ended up being a scratch in that last game. So I think his status is, what can you say? With Eichel out, this has been the problem right now, it seems like, for the Golden Knights. And Theodore's been out as well during this spell, but Eichel questionable here. Robert Thomas is questionable, though, here for St. Louis in this one. Pius Suter also out of this game. So let's see what you think, though, here with these two. They've already met once back in November, and it was 4-0. The Golden Knights did get the win. They've kind of run over here for the most part. Against St. Louis, it's mostly been a Golden Knights series between these two teams. Vegas has won 5 of the last 6 meetings between the two. Also, 6 straight meetings they've won here in St. Louis. St. Louis is just 2-4 in their last 6. They've gone under in 6 of their last 9 at home. They're also 9-15 to the under. As a dog are the Blues. Golden Knights, meanwhile, though, have gone over in 5 of their last 6. I know it's $1.50 here, but going to have to take the Golden Knights in this one to win on the road over St. Louis on Friday. Greg likes the Blues here. And let's see here. Jimmy says, and we're going to get right. I mean, I know we've seen a lot of the announcements so far for the U.S. team for the Olympics. I think we find out officially here on Friday, but we know you're going to have Mr. Hat Trick himself, Austin Matthews, Brady Tkachuk for sure, Matt Tkachuk for sure, Quinn Hughes, Eichel for sure, I think is on Team USA from what I've seen so far. So I think there's a few other, those are the ones that kind of come up top of my head that I've seen, kind of outside confirmation. We're going to find out the U.S. Olympic team here on Friday. That should be awesome for sure. And let's see here. Mammoth got those 7 goals. Yeah, I mean, hey, Mr. Westers, come on. I mean, I think I'm pretty hot here on the show in hockey for sure. Try to be humble about it. But we did crush, I think, the card here on Thursday. We had the Senators there. We had the Penguins over the Red Wings. We had the over in Canadians and Hurricanes. We had the Maple Leafs over the Jets. Also, we had the under with the Predators and the Kraken. So that was just 5-3, I guess. Okay, let's take a look here and keep it going. I'm taking a favorite here with the Golden Knights in this one. Next up, we've got the Winter Classic, and it's being played in Miami. What could possibly go wrong here playing the Winter Classic game in Sunrise, Florida here? So we got an outdoor game here. What is the temperature here? I didn't check, but it's a much different setting than we're used to. That's for sure, as we're at Lone Depot Park in this one. So this one will be a little bit after 8 o'clock in this one at the Lone Depot Arena here for the Rangers and the Panthers. All right. Should be cool, though, with this one. This will be the final trip, actually. The Rangers have been on a road trip here, actually. They haven't looked that good on this trip. Remember, they've been kind of a road team centric here, but JT Miller basically missed the whole trip after getting hurt in that game against the Flyers. But Florida's kind of struggling as well coming in. And see what you got, though, with these two. The Rangers have lost 3 straight, including all of them on the road. They're kind of coming back down to earth with that road record. For Florida, meanwhile, they're 13-8 at home overall. There are $1.40 here in this one for Florida here. They're 17-13 to the over as a favorite, but the Rangers are 8-11 to the under as a dog. And again, you wonder about how the conditions will work, yet still Rangers under in 9 of their last 13. They've also gone under in 5 of their last 7 on the road. Florida's gone over in 5 of 6 coming in and 4 of their last 5 at home, but a different setting here maybe with this one. And Florida's won 9 of their last 13 overall, and they've won 5 of the last 6 over the Rangers, including last year at Florida. Oh, the Rangers did win once last year at Florida, but see what you got here in this one. I want to take Florida right now. I think the Rangers' luck might be running out a little bit here on the road, and even with another favorite here, I'm on another favorite, $1.40 or so. I'm going to take Florida in this one. All right. And Greg says 4-2. Panthers, get it together, Rangers. You're supposed to be good on the road. And Dat Kush King is here today. He's on the Panthers. Hi, Dat Kush King. Yeah, take the Let's take the Panthers in this one. And I said Sunrise. I'm thinking of This is in Miami. Make no mistake. All right. Rangers don't stand a chance, it sounds like, says Greg Gibson. All right, next up, the Kraken are on the road, taking on the Canucks here. The Canucks are $2 favorites in this one. Okay. They're 16, 20, and 3. We know Seattle. I don't know what's broken here. What am I missing here in this one with Seattle and Vancouver here? Maybe I got a little carried away on the line. Maybe it's $1.80 at minimum, and there's some 620s. But no matter how you look at it, the Vancouver Canucks are still a big favorite here. Connor Garland is out for Vancouver in this game. Marco Rossi also out of this lineup. So I don't know. It just seems kind of bizarre to me. And Vancouver has not been anything special. They're one of the worst home teams in the league, 4-12 this season. Seattle 8-7 on the road. That's not awful here. Yeah, it's been a disappointing season for Seattle, but they've been playing well here over the last couple of weeks. They beat Anaheim, LA, Philadelphia, and Nashville. They lost at home to Vancouver a couple of nights ago, but they played well, I thought, in that game. They were an underdog in that game at home to these Canucks. So maybe there's something to that Vancouver was able to go in and beat Seattle last time out, and Vancouver has won the last two meetings between the two teams. If anything, it feels more like a revenge situation, even for a road team here. I want to take the Kraken in this one at, I don't care, $1.50 or better. I'm on the Kraken here as a dog in this one. Like I said, maybe I'm missing something with this. Just don't fathom this team. Seattle, like I said, Seattle has a better record overall than Vancouver. And Vancouver's lost 3 of their last 4, the only win over Seattle. So maybe it's just an advantage there that the Sharps see with Seattle being able to beat them. But all right, Kraken 3-2 here for Greg. That might be it from you guys. I'm taking the Kraken to win. Yeah. Here you could get it's not a terrible price on the puck line. It's not great either. We know these because all these 1-goal games, even the puck line's a little bit tough to swallow here. $1.75 on the Kraken. It's even higher than Vancouver's $1.75, $1.80 money line, pretty much. All right, here, Dat Kush King. He hates Seattle for winning last night. Maybe there you go. That's probably it right there. You mentioned it. They played the back-to-back and won 4-1. So fair enough on that one, Dat Kush King. He says he hates Seattle for winning last night, cost him the parlay, so he's going to take the Canucks here. So yeah, you know what? That's probably the reason why you got $1.80 here in this one. But Vancouver hasn't been good. Let's face it. Okay, let's go to the Wild and the Ducks. Get your quacker out here with this one. Wear your camouflage. With this game. All right, you got the Wild here on the road, $1.30, 6.5. Vancouver, Anaheim struggling here right now with 4 straight losses to Seattle, the Kings, Sharks, and Tampa Bay. They played okay in that game against Tampa Bay. They were an underdog, lost, but they were in it there for a while. Minnesota here, 24, 10-7. They're 11-6 on the road. Excellent. Playing great here right now, and I don't think $1.30, $1.40 is awful here for Minnesota in this one. They've owned the Ducks here, one of the most dominant series right now going. 6 straight wins over the Ducks overall. Anaheim's gone over in 6 of their last 7, although 6 of the last 8 meetings between these two teams have gone under. The Ducks have gone over in 10 of their last 11 games at home right now, and Minnesota's gone over in 4 of their last 5 on the road and 5 of their last 7 games overall. But I'm going to take Minnesota here on the road. I don't mind that over, though. even at 6.5. I think it points to an over with these two. Anaheim's been the big time over actually at 26-14 to the over and 14-6 to the over at home overall. So give me the Wild, though, here in this one to wrap up Night Moves. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Let's see here. Jermaine, hello. Nice to have you in the chat. Timothy's on the Wild. And DeBrusque for an ATG here, says Timmy. Greg likes it 4-2. Wild Boys, says Greg. And Kaprizov for a goal also for Timmy Chushu. All right, you guys, that's going to do it here for Night Moves. And we'll be back tomorrow, Saturday, NFL with our two big games and a weekend of a big college basketball card as well as we're getting back into play here. So I really appreciate you joining me. Make sure you go on over to Tony'sPicks.com and use the promo code TonyT at checkout. Save 15% off those premium pick packages. Click on the All Cappers tab there. You'll find all the cappers. Click on the handicapper of your choice, and that's how you get signed up over at Tony's Picks. Check me out over at Tony's Picks, and let's get ready to go for a big 2026. Why not hang with me here over the weekend? Grab my 3-day all sports pass. I'll be coming at you with probably more than a dozen plays here this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Join me over at Tony'sPicks.com. That's going to do it for Night Moves, and appreciate everyone stopping in tonight. Had a great show. You guys did a great job with me here in the chat. Make sure you join me here tomorrow for more Night Moves. And for the Tony's Picks YouTube channel, I'm Ramon Scott. So long from Night Moves.